Today is Wednesday. This is the first day of database and SQL. So we did a little bit of course review. We spent a little bit on topics, mostly on data and database topics. So let's take a look at some of the things we talked about. Started off generically talking about databases. Data is stored in a database, and we use data to create information. I think of data as raw facts. Information, something that becomes useful to us as humans. Okay? We can take the data, store it on a hard drive, and then use software. Software is really the key in this whole deal. We can use software to take this data that's stored, or any type of data we're entering in the computer, and turn it into some type of information. So we will constantly, in this class, talk about that. We'll talk about data and what kind of information we get from the data. Okay? Now, let's look at some details, a little more details. We want to look at information systems, and we're going to do that a lot more on Monday. Information systems are used everywhere. You know, chutes, right? That's what our cars look like. You got a little person in there driving the car. I mean, our car is a huge information system, between how it makes things work and so forth, to buying something online, to, you know, you name it. So information systems, we'll talk a little bit about that in relationships to databases. More on that in a minute. Let's take a look here at some of the things I have here. So we think about a user. Nowadays we use browsers. We may not think of it as a query, but we create a query to get some of that data off of the physical drive, and somewhere or another the software then converts that back into something that's valuable for us to see. Anytime you fill out any form online, like you do a, let's just say you do a search in Amazon to find all these products that might serve your needs. Okay, you're looking for a new laptop. You're looking for a new toothbrush. I don't know. You know, looking for whatever. Amazon sells so many things. So you actually do like a query, and then from here it brings that information back to you. Okay. Now, there are lots of options right here. We're going to use MySQL. And we'll talk more about the other options as the year goes on. MySQL uses structured query language. So that's a standard. Okay. So somewhere in here we can use structured query language to manipulate the information on the hard drive. We don't have to worry about how it's physically stored, because this software, kind of in between, is going to do that. Now, we do need to understand the theory behind how to organize the data on the hard drive. So, in order to do that, we look at it in a logical form. Not exactly how it is here, okay? Not exactly how it appears there, but we look at it in a logical form, which we're going to look at on the next page. Actually, the page after this page. So we'll go back to that, and it'll be a good review when we get to the tables over here. A little bit here at NIAC, we have, this is a little bit on a little more general things about the course. So here at NIAC, we have these fiber connections going into the internet through the Iowa Communications Network. That's our internet service provider. Canvas comes in, they have multiple providers, so we can access Canvas from the internet. You can be at home and you can get the Canvas, or you can get the campus. Now, a couple things here at campus. The academic area is this way, and the main campus is this way, coming out of this multi-layered switch. I say that just for a couple peculiar things. If you need support in terms of you're in the lab 229 to get access, that's done through Mr. Purchase on the IT side. Okay. Also, we have some servers over here that you will access there on this side. So if you have any issues with those work servers, work server 1, work server 2, then you see me. Contact me, because I manage those. If you have trouble with anything else technologically here with the college, you can contact the regular NIAC help desk. We also drew this picture in class was to emphasize a little bit about databases and Canvas. Canvas is a great example of a very sophisticated database. Keeps track of tons of information about the students. Now, in order for Canvas to be accessible all over the internet, they use some data services. I believe they use Amazon and Google, but I'm not positive. But we could probably look that up. Netflix, I know they started using Amazon in order to distribute all over the world. You could also use Microsoft products. IBM has a cloud solution. I'm not sure what Apple does as far as if you, well, you can use Apple because you can use the iCloud. So, shoots, we'll put Apple on here. I don't know what kind of service they supply worldwide, but now that they're bringing all that money back and they're going to open up another office here in the United States, maybe they'll increase their presence for data storage too. Here we have a, whoa, let me undo that. Here we have a logical view. We model relational databases. And how does that work? Well, let's take a look. We're going to mark this up a little bit. We start out, you will see the term use tables, and you'll hear me refer to those tables as entities. In this course, at least when we start now, pretty much same thing. Okay? The reason we start talking about entities right away is you want to create, you're going to end up creating multiple tables. Once we get pretty good at structured query language, the basics, then we'll start creating separate tables. These are tables, and then we will build between those tables relationships. Okay? And then there's all kinds of things that we'll talk about when we get there. Okay? So we did some examples here. So I said here at school we may be, this is not exact, but we'll just make this up here sort of. We may have a table that covers students. Okay, a student ID number, and then we have records in there of students. And these would be attributes, things that define students. They don't define other things. And I'm going to give you a hint right now that's really important. These attributes should specifically relate to students. So you shouldn't have attributes that aren't directly related to students. More on that later. Okay? Same thing with faculty. Got a table of faculty, and these things should relate directly to the faculty. We did courses, attributes that relate to courses. You know, how many credits is it, and so forth. Okay, the term. Okay, that's this term. We only want information in here that refers to this term. Okay, spring of 18. Then what happens is we can build relationships. We can take this faculty ID and we can put it over here. 007. Okay, that's the faculty ID. So now we've built a relationship. Here it's referred to as a primary key, and here it's referred to as a foreign key. So that if we need some information about the faculty, we can go back to the faculty table. We don't have to duplicate that information here. We can just use this number. So you can see then we can build a relationship that this student is taking this class. This table holds all the information about the student. This table holds all the information about the course. Okay, and then we can just put that information in this table. So this is an active table. It changes a lot. Okay? All right. So how do we set these up? Well, there's learn the basic skills initially. Then we'll look at how we view this in a logical form. We let MySQL do the dirty work as far as putting it on the actual drive and keeping it organized. And then we'll eventually, as we move along, we're going to learn some rules. Okay? Design rules. Okay? So, we have curriculum. We have curriculum that you can work on online. Okay? That Code Academy, that'll help with the SQL. We have work we're going to do in class for the SQL. We have some theory work. And this will be crucial. This is where you design. You design, okay? You can't just randomly make any old tables any old way and make the database work efficiently. You want eventually somebody to be able to click. So we have this whole idea of the user up here, being able to use their browser to access the information down here, and we take care of everything in between. So that make this work efficiently, design is very important. Efficiently, and so people get the correct results. Really important. Efficiency, accuracy, and then we do talk a little bit about, it's very important, but once you understand things, then the next step would be cover some security. Alright, so it's a great start. Monday we'll continue on.